Hey guys, this is Tepco Cycle Repair. Today we're working on a Bing 54 carburetor, and this is off of a Rotax 532 engine. So this goes on an ultralight. So this is cool stuff. So let's make sure that our carburetors are good to go before we go in the air. All right, so I'm going to go through this and we'll strip this thing apart. A couple tools you need to have ready. You need to have a 8mm, 10mm, something to clean the jets out with. Again, it's a wire from a brick brush, a little bristle brush right here to just clean up the outside of the jets. We also have some scuff pads just to do some little cleaning of any of the metal parts in there. Have a flathead screwdriver to get the pilot jet out, a hammer, and a punch. I'll show you what that's for. That's just for getting the float out. The couple settings there you want to take note of. This is for sea level here. Okay, it's the Bing 54. The main jet should be 165. The pilot's 55, and the air screws at one turn out. Again, air screws are going to be adjusted depending on elevation and temperature and all that. So I also have a bath right here ready to go, nice and steamy. All right, that's for the carburetor to soak in. So let's start by getting this thing apart. All right, so basics here. Just looking at the carburetor. Okay, you have a vacuum line right here. Okay, this is going to be for when you're setting the two carburetors up. All right, so making sure they're synced together. You would adjust that by adjusting the mixture screw. Okay, which is right there. This is the one that you're going to start out at one turn out. All right, here's our idle screw right here. All right, fuel inlet right there. This tube is important too. I really don't like the way this one is set up, but this one here has to be open, because when fuel comes in to fill up the float bowl, it needs to push the air out. The air gets pushed up the sides right here. Okay, and the air needs to come out here, so these always have to be vented. So this has got a little tiny hole cut at the bottom of this. I'm going to open that up a bunch more. You can also run these just open if you wanted and just tie them down underneath so they're not flapping around. But you got to make sure that when the fuel is coming in, that the fuel can fill up, and the air that it's taking the space of needs to come out. And that's what this hose is for right here. All right. The slides in this one, they're still on the ultralight. I just pulled it out, left it attached. I'll clean those up, the outside of them with the Scotch-Brite, clean the needle, check the setting on them. It should be at the third clip down, and they'll be good to go. All right, the idle screw, if you look down in there, okay, look down inside there, it's just a little tapered needle that just pushes the slide up and down. Nothing really to that one. The mixture screw we're going to take out. So let's start out by opening up the carburetor on the bottom. Now these have floats in here. You're going to want to hold it upright like this right here when you take it off, because the floats are going to stay inside of the bowl. All right, these come out. You want to make sure that these are not cracked or damaged at all. If there's a damage in these sleeves right here and they don't slide up and down evenly, you're going to have trouble there. So I'm going to put some of the cleaner in this bowl, and that's what I have. That's what I have this here for. This is just going to help hold them up so that I can make sure that the floats go at the same level and one doesn't sit lower than the other one. We'll get back to that. All right, so in here we have this is the float tabs right here. These need to be level with this, so you want to make sure those are level with the where the float bowl mounts up right here. Okay, it's nice and level. This is the pilot jet just right in there. We'll take that one out. Here's our main jet, and this is just a screen filter, help filter any debris. So let's start out by taking out this pilot jet. All right, so here's our pilot jet right here. All right, all those holes inside there and the hole in there, you should be able to see light through there and light through these holes. So you want to take the wire, run it through in here. Also run it through every one of these holes. I give it a good spin, and then I'm going to take this and soak it in the cleaner as well. All right. And then you need the 8mm and the 10mm. Okay, looking at this main jet, it's a 165, so we're good there. We're going to take the 10mm and the 8mm. These holes are a lot bigger on the mains. They're always going to be clear. You can probably see light through there. But we're still going to soak that and clean it. Then take the 10. Take this one out. All right, and this one here, I'm going to take the brush and we'll just clean the outside of it. All right, but I'm going to soak it first and get it all cleaned up. The bottom of this right here, okay, this is where the float needle goes in. That piece comes out also. Just reach inside here and push it out. All right, you don't really need to push it out. You just turn it over. That piece is going to stay inside of there. But if it's stuck in there, you can see if you can see it through there. But you can just kind of put a little punch and just tap it real lightly, and this is going to come out. All right. This is important because there's a it has to go back in the right way. This is tapered right here. All right. So when the needle comes in from the slide, this needs to be tapered so that it can drop right down in there and it won't get stuck. We'll clean that out as well. All right. Now to get the float needle out, okay, you can see the float needle is in there. All right, it's down inside there. It's moving fine in there, but you want to take it out because we're going to clean the inside of that real good. Make sure that the needle rubber is good and make sure the seat is good. So that's when we need the punch right here. There's two sides here. You have a tapered side and you have a side that has some knurled edges in there. I'm not sure you can see that, but some knurled edges. You always want to tap it out this way because this is the way that it's coming back in. So just take this right here. You can do this in your hand if it's not in there too tight, but if it is, you want to support it. All right, so you want to support it like this here. I turned the camera off by mistake there for a second. All right, so support it here. I have a piece of cardboard underneath this so that the needle has a little room to go down into it. Just going to tap it. These are light, gentle taps, all right? You don't want to break these tabs. All right, you can see the knurled end coming out right there. There we go. All right, so now we have it out here. We're going to take this out right here. All right, so down inside there, we're going to clean that out really good. The Q-tip and some metal polish. All right, so in here you can see how the hook goes over right here. The little hook on the float needle hooks over the tab. This is the tab you would bend if you need to adjust the height. If you need to adjust the height of these, this is the tab you would bend right here. That little tab. You want to make sure that this presses down nice and easy right there. All right, make sure that presses down nice and easy. The rubber tip, it doesn't have any damage. It should be tapered nice and smooth. No like indentation in there or anything like that. No heavy debris on it. I always have a magnifying glass so I can look at it really good. All right, so giving this a good look. It looks fine, so we're going to clean that one out. It should be good. All those parts are going to get soaked. All right, for here we're going to take this hose off. Sometimes these get stuck on there good. I'm going to take those off. All right, so that hose is out there now. All right, so now we're back to the mixture screw right here. I already checked this one. It's one turn out. All right, but the way that you want to check it is you want to just tighten it in. There's a half. One right there. Okay, right till it gets snug. Don't turn it in too much. You'll damage it. Now we're going to back it out. Okay, and that's what it looks like right there. That's the tip you don't want to damage if you tighten it in too much. Okay, on two strokes, where it's on the air side, you're not going to have a spring. Normally in a four-stroke, you'd have a spring, a washer, and then a rubber O-ring. This just has a rubber O-ring underneath the main part right there. All right, so I'm going to clean that out as well. Now this hole right here works in conjunction with this hole right here. The air goes in there. Okay, splits here. Goes into these two tubes right here and mixes into where the pilot jet is. They all work in conjunction. So you have to make sure that your pilot jet is clean. All right, these tubes. All right, we'll do that by spraying some carb cleaner. And then in here, this needs to be clean. And in this case, this carburetor had some gunk inside there and it was blocking that. So the mixture screw is not going to do anything. So I'm going to take this right now and I'm going to soak it in cleaner. All right, and then we'll take it out, and I'll be back with you guys in just a second. Alright guys, so here we go. I got the setup right here. I got fluid inside of there. Just going to let them soak for a little while, make sure they're good. I got the carb in its little bath right there. So I use Pine Sol, heated Pine Sol. The heat is the key. You want to warm it up. I just got this little surface heater right here. So I heat it up for about 15 minutes. I'll take it out. I'll rinse it in a bucket of water. Alright? That's why I like using it, because it's easy to get off of water. I'll intermittently take this a regular toothbrush, scrub it a little bit while it's sitting in there. When I take it out, rinse it in the water, spray it down with a lubricant or WD-40 to get all the water out of it, compressed air, and we'll check all the holes and squirt carb clean through everything, make sure everything's cleaned up. It works really good. I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. And what we're waiting for here with these floats is to make sure that after a while after they're sitting, that they don't sink down at all, and there's no damage, that they move freely, that the level of both of them is the same, because you don't want one broken and one good in the same carburetor, or else you have one trying to do all the work. Alright, so we'll be back in just a minute. This right here, they should be, when we look at the level here. Alright, that's what we're looking at. So far so good. Alright, be back in a minute. Alright guys, been soaking and cleaning for about 15 minutes. I took it out, rinsed it in water, sprayed it down WD-40 just to get the any moisture out of anywhere. Wiped it all down good. Ran the scuff pad down the slide body right here in the intake here. Another side note here, this is your choke right here. So when the choke is off, when the choke is in here, the piston is all the way down, cutting the fuel off. When it's on, it sucks up through that hose right there, which sits down into the float bowl. All right, so it sucks it up right through that hole, right into the main body right here. So the intake can just suck in the extra fuel. What I'm doing here is I'm taking some semi-chrome. All right, and I'm sticking it down into the float needle seat right here. I'm just going to clean that and polish it all up. You want to make sure that this is nice and clean so there's no debris in there. You can use this. You can also use something like this lapping compound for valves, for if you have some small engine repair stuff for Briggs & Stratton engines and all that kind of stuff. But basically here I'm going to clean this all out. Then I'm going to take carb cleaner. All right, and then I'm going to spray the carb cleaner in there. Some compressed air. Alright, then we're looking like that, nice and clean down in there. Alright, so that's clean right there. I blew air through all the ports, made sure everything is good. Alright, made sure that my mixture screw hole was clear. Make sure the air intake here was clear for the mixture. That port also goes into the main jet right here. Get everything, make sure it's all clean. Make sure your gasket surface is good. If not, replace it. Alright, your gasket surface right here can be replaced. It comes out. Alright. So this is all good right here. I'm going to pull the jets out and get those all cleaned up. Alright, so sometimes in the Pine Sol, the stuff will come out looking like a little black, a little dark like that. You hit it with the brush and it's going to clean right back up again. Alright, the reason I like using the Pine Sol is that you can leave the rubbers and stuff on and it's not going to damage them at all. They'll stay nice, no problems at all, because it's an oil. It's a Pine Sol oil, so you don't have to worry about that. You can leave the rubber on here. Regular carburetor cleaner will just eat that up. So that's why it's okay to leave them together. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all these up, run wires through all of them, and get them all polished back up again. And same thing with the outside here. All this will come right off. Alright, with in just a second. Alright, so here's all the jets and everything cleaned up, ready to go. Alright, I took the little tang off of the float needle to clean it good. Alright, it's just got a, it's going to be hard to see, but it's a little tab right there. It holds on. That's all there is to it. A couple side notes about the bowl. Alright, so this is where your choke is going to be picking up from. It goes down in there. There's a hole down in the bottom. Alright, make sure that hole is clear. Alright, and make sure when you spray cleaner down there, it comes out of the hole. Polish both of these right here. The tangs for the float. Make sure that they're nice and movable. Alright, and then these are just going to sit back in here. Okay, when I tested the floats, like I showed you earlier, everything was good to go. These are nice moving floats, no problem. Alright, so let's get back into reassembly now. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop in the seat right here for the center for the main jet. That drops right in. And we're going to make sure that goes all the way down in there. Next piece right here, tapering on the top as well. All right. Everything looks centered. You can just look down the throat right there and make sure everything is centered and ready to go. All right, we're going to tighten this in, 10 millimeter. Not too tight. K-lacings are brass. Just get them snug. Good. All right, next thing to do, we're going to put the main jet in. Main jet screws in, nice and simple, 8 millimeter. Done. All right, we're going to take the tab for the float. Okay. Remember, these have to sit in here. They has to be level. So we're going to take a float needle. Okay, we're going to put it back on. We're just going to hook it through that little tab that's on there. All right, everything's working good. Just take that. I'm going to drop it down into the needle seat, the float seat right there. Boom, like that. Now there's two different sides of. Remember which way that you knocked it out. If you can't remember which way you knocked out the float needle, just look at it. You can still see the grooves in there. So I'm going to take the float pivot pin right here. We're going to drop it back in. Get everything lined up. All right, now we're at the point where we have to tap it back in. Make sure that it's lined up on this side right here. And then we're just going to tap it in. If you have a small hammer, use a small hammer. I only have this one right here with me. So, but basically I'm just going to. All right, tapped back in, good to go. Take the pilot jet. Nice and clean, drop it back in there. Snug that down. Mixture screw. Right into the side right here. I have to put a little bit of WD-40 on that O-ring. So it's snug right there. It's all the way in. Okay, then we're going to do half, one turn out. That's good to go. All right, take our little screen right here. Drop that back on there. Floats. Okay, now the floats, don't flip this over because the floats will fall out in the float bowl. So make sure you take this right here. All right. Get your gasket in place. Make sure your float height. Remember we talked about the float height. These tabs should be level. These tabs should be level with the body right here. All right. The hose. Last thing, I made this the hole a little bigger. You need to make sure there's plenty of air that can flow through this hose. Push it on there. Alright, so there we go with that. This carburetor is now flight worthy. It's ready to go. Don't forget you do your adjustments on your mixture screw. That's something you're going to have to do while it's on the plane. And then here's your idle screw here. The slide can only go in one way. It's got a tapered part on the slide that goes to where the idle is here. And there's a little tab that's on the far side right here. So the slide can only go on one way. Make sure you look through the throat of it and make sure the slide is on there. Alright guys, so this is a carb rebuild for the Rotax 533, the Bing 54 carburetor. Guys, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And guys, if you're flying, make sure you don't take any shortcuts in the carburetor. It's an important part. Stay in the air, guys. Fly safe. Until next time, this is Tevco Cycle Repair.